cicada I took a picture of last time around. And I just have to say straight up, I am a huge fan of cicadas. I think they're so awesome. And I hope by the end of this, you all will think they're awesome too. It's a miracle of nature. And so anyway, next slide, please. So these kind of cicadas are not the kind you see in the summer. They are have a very different appearance, and they come out every 17 years. Our cicadas that are coming right now soon are called brood 10, Roman numeral 10. It's not brood X. And there are many different broods all on the East Coast of the US, and US is this area is the only area that has them. So it's really unique in the world. They all have different times they come out, different locations. They come out, and we're just lucky to have brood X, which is one of the bigger ones. They can take up more than 1 million per acre in some locations. Alicia, I believe, is going to talk about their sound, and it can reach over 90 decibels, which is the same amount of sound that a lawnmower puts out. They come out during a period of 2 weeks, basically between now and mid-May, but they don't come all out at the same time. So it's staggered. So they're actually going to be around for 4 to 6 weeks. They can't come out, or they don't come out till it's 64 degrees in the soil. And so now I checked the soil temperature and it was 56 degrees today, but now we've had a lot of hot days, so it's probably coming soon. Now, the millions and millions and millions, and some people say billions, that are in this brood, they come out in such numbers for a survival strategy. There's so many that they overwhelm the predators, and so there's always a bunch left over and they can reproduce, which is a survival strategy that other species use. Next slide, please. This is the distribution of brood 10, and you can see there's kind of like a gap there between us and over in Indiana, Kentucky, Tennessee, and some people think it's partly because of development or habitat destruction, that some areas are not, just kind of got wiped out. They became extinct. And I was thinking that here, where you have behind where I live, there was a lot of construction around the time that the last brood came out, the last in 2004. And I don't know if they'll have them as much there. I would think not, but they do have trees and things now. They've grown enough that maybe they'll get some in the future. Next slide, please. This is a complicated slide, but basically, I don't know, can I? Oh yeah, I can do the arrow. Right now we're in this phase. They're in the, that nymphs are in the soil, really pretty shallow. In some of the holes you can see them peeking out. I've seen some in my yard. When it hits 64 in the soil, they come out and climb up a vertical surface and emerge from their exoskeleton and turn into adults. They come out as white insects, and as they develop their wings and they feel, just sort of like a butterfly, they become flying insects. Then they mate, and we'll hear more about that later. And then the females lay their eggs on branches that are like size of a pencil, the diameter of a pencil, and then they all die pretty soon after that. The eggs hatch it says 2 months. I've read a variety of things, and then the little larvae or the little early nymphs fall to the ground and just dig their way back into the soil, and they live in the soil for 17 years. It's really cool. Underground, they eat root sap, and they just develop into the size that they are now in the ground. Okay, next slide, please. I just put a couple of pictures in just so you can correlate it with the life cycle. This is the holes, and if you look around, you will see them. They're about a 1/2 inch in diameter, and they're all sitting there waiting to come out. This is on the right is one of the nymphs as it just came out of the soil. Okay, next slide, please. And this is one of the emerging cicadas shedding its exoskeleton, and like I said, they're white, and their wings are very small, and then they fill up and expand, and then they can go fly away. And you can probably see some of these if you really want to go walk around and look for them. Next slide, please. Okay, now a lot of people are concerned about the cicadas, and as a cicada advocate, I will say not to worry about them too much. They don't bite or sting. A lot of pets will eat them. I know mine will, and it's okay. It doesn't hurt them. You don't really want them eating a lot. Like in my dog's case, they'll probably eat a lot and then throw up all over the house, but they do not chew leaves. So all your perennials and annuals and most of your shrubs will have no damage at all. And like I said, the female lays eggs on the tree tips, and the tip branch, very tips of each branch. And if there's too many sites on that branch, either one doing it or a whole bunch doing it, those tips will die, and that's called flagging. The little tip like falls down and falls off the tree, turns brown, and then falls off the tree. That's not really anything to worry about on an adult tree, because those areas will rejuvenate, and it's not going to harm the tree at all. And just as a note, pesticides aren't going to work because there's so many that there's no way you can cover them all. And plus all the predators and the birds and the pets and beneficial insects are going to get damaged. Or killed, some of them. It's generally just, it's not even worth trying, basically. Next slide. This is on the left, a picture of how the damage looks on a branch tip, and you'll see tons of these as this whole process occurs. And that is a picture of flagging on the right. You can see a little. They're hanging down and they're brown, and then they eventually just fall to the ground. And you can sometimes see these little this little bit of damage on those sometimes, the egg laying damage. So next slide, please. There is one concern that you may want to take care of, and that is that on a really small tree, which has lots of branches of that size, and doesn't have a lot, of resilience yet, they can get damaged. So like a sapling that you've planted in the last year or so, you would want to probably cover it with either 1/4 inch mesh, which you can probably get at a garden center, or you can put tulle on it or cheesecloth and cover it up so they can't get in there. So I would say that would be worthwhile. And if you're planning on planting a tree this spring, you might want to wait till the fall so you don't have to worry about it. Next slide, please. Okay, for further reading, I have a couple of, I think, really worthwhile sites. University of Maryland Extension has very good information and a lot of facts and helpful hints about the cicadas. The next one is the Cicada Safari app, which is something you put on your cell phone, and it's citizen science where you go around and you take pictures of the cicadas and record. They are collecting data about where they are and all that kind of stuff. And I think it's really fun. I'm going to do it. But I think if you have kids or grandchildren or something, I think they would really get a kick out of it. And it's sort of important, you know, you're doing something for science. So the next site is Cicada Mania, which is run by total nuts who love, I mean, they're nuts about cicadas, and they have all kinds of fun things to do. And like for kids and even adults, they have a crossword puzzle, for example, and lots of videos, lots of really good information about all the broods, and not just brood 10. And then we have the University of Connecticut one. They're one of the biggest research centers for cicadas, and some of it's a little more technical, but it's very good too. Next slide, please. And then we have our own organization on our fairfaxgardening.org, which is our website. There's a nice article about cicadas that goes into more detail than I have. And then we also have a presentation video on YouTube by our on YouTube. So I think that is really worthwhile as well. And I hope that I may have talked you into liking cicadas by now. So I'm done. Are there any questions for me?
Yeah, Helen, I'm looking at the chat box, and you've certainly convinced me to love cicadas. It's going to be an exciting time for all of us. And the question is, when should you put the netting over the trees, and how long should the netting stay on the tree?
Okay, well, they say that they don't start mating for a week after they start appearing. So you could hold off, you know, because we don't know when they're coming. You could hold off till you first start seeing them and then put it up. And then because of the staggering of, you know, they live 2 weeks, but, you know, some will come out, you know, day 1, and then some won't come out till, you know, day 14, but those will live 2 weeks. So you really should do 6 weeks, probably. They say 4 to 6 weeks, but I mean, to be safe, I would probably do 6 weeks.
Picture of what my name's Elisa, gardener Elisa, and this is what your trees and your bushes and your lawn and maybe your driveway, I mean, they really are going to be all over. And the next slide is what you can look for before they emerge. The picture of the little holes here, they're usually at the base of the tree, is where the cicada has dug. They're about the size of your finger, and this is the nymph or immature cicada. What they'll do is they'll dig holes and come up. This could be for breathing, or sometimes they will poke their head up, but then they'll go back down until they're ready to emerge. The picture at the end, these are called mud chimneys, and this will happen in wetter areas, wetter or muddier areas. And they'll construct these mounds. They can be up to 2 to 3 inches high and 1 to 2 inches wide. And this is to protect the holes so it doesn't fill up with water or mud. So you could be seeing those, especially if you have an area that's wetter or muddier. You can also see them when you're gardening. You could dig up the nymph. What you'll notice about this is they'll have red eyes, which they develop, up to a year, in the year before they emerge. But they will not have characteristic black pouches that are under, right under the head. So we'll go to the next slide. And okay, there are 3 species of brood 10, or brood X, in the Washington metro area. But the dominant species that will be taken, and forgive me for not pronouncing this right, Cicada septembicum, and like what was said before, they'll emerge in the ground 8 inches down, warms to 64 degrees. They'll come out at night, but not all at once. Some of them are a little bit confused, and they'll come out a little early or a little late. And this is a picture right here of a newly emerged adult. And I love this. This is actually from Cicada Mania, which is a wonderful site and goes through the whole emergence of these cicadas. And a fluid, which I forgot the name of it, pumps through their bodies to get everything away, unfurls their wings, and as like what was said, they'll break out of their exoskeleton and become an adult, a flying adult. And now they're ready to mate. That's their main purpose in life. The noise is caused by a timbal, which is a ridged membrane found on the first abdominal segment. This enables the male to create song to attract the mate. They have 3 reasons to make noise. One is an alarm distress, which means don't eat me. And they have pre-calls, calls to attract mates, and choruses, which the males will congregate to form a chorusing center to attract mates. And like what was mentioned before, my information says that they can get as loud as a loud rock concert or a jet engine, estimated to be about 100 decibels. And both sexes have sound, but the female is produced by another organ, a tympana. It's found on the underside of the abdomen, and they will make a noise that's called a wing. Anyway, it's called a ring flick, and it's more like the sound of a light switch. And what I'd like they sound like. And, okay, let's get rid of those. I definitely recommend going to the Cicada Mania site. And through that, you can get to the University of Connecticut site and also the cicadasafari.org. A wonderful resource to learn about cicadas. And is there any questions?
Yes, we have a question in the chat box, and that is the issue with the cicadas affecting young trees that, is it when the young cicadas first come out and crawl up the trees, or when the females are ready to lay eggs?
It would be when the cicadas start to lay eggs. They make that split, and the in a young tree, it'd be a delicate little tree twig, and that can be damaging.
Okay, that's the only.
I'd like
question.
to add something though to that. I just thought of this, that if you have them, the little guys crawling up and they're sitting there, and then you wrap up the tree, there's going to be certain, like maybe 50% male, 50% female or something like that. So they could still mate there.
You want to make sure
I just thought of that. I didn't read that anywhere, but I would think that would be, an issue. Yes, I would say I would wrap a little early. When they start coming out, that's what I would do if I had a tree that I cared about.
Thank you.
Sorry to
That's it.
interrupt. Thanks, Gardner Alicia. Now we have Gardner Marianne talking about the differences between hornets, the cicada wasp, and the giant, I guess it's the giant Asian hornet, giant hornet, and it should be interesting.
Will be. It will be. Thank you very much, Helen. Hello, welcome. Today we're going to spy on hornets, specifically the European hornet, the cicada wasp, and the Asian giant hornet, better known as the murder hornet. Let's start with the European hornet, Vespa crabro. The European hornet is a stout insect, approximately 1 inch long, with hairy reddish-brown head and thorax. The abdomen is yellow with brownish markings, similar to those found on yellow jackets, and the eyes and jaws are large, and the wings are reddish-orange. These hornets have a large, stout stinger and a large venom sac. Their sting can be very painful, but they do not appear to be particularly aggressive or vicious unless they're defending their nest. Their nests are made out of papery material made by chewing wood and plant fibers. They can be built in protected areas such as hollow trees, hollow posts, partitions in sheds, barns, porches, and attics. Next, please. The European hornet will attack lilac, boxwood, viburnum, fruit trees, birch, willow, poplar, ligustrum, which is privet, rhododendron, dogwood, and other trees and shrubs. It sounds like just about everything. They girdle smaller branches and gnaw holes in larger branches to feed on the sap, often causing smaller branches to die. You can see in the picture, the photo that, there's a couple of them and they're doing a number on that branch. They are active at night and will aggressively defend their nest. Do not disturb. It's probably best to use an exterminator because they can be really aggressive if they feel their nest is in danger. Next, please. Now we have the cicada wasp, since we're talking about cicadas. Species speciosus, also known as the cicada killer. The wasp is a beneficial insect about 2 inches long, very noisy. They buzz when they come near you, with black and yellow markings. The cicada wasp is a solitary insect. The male does not sting, though it may dive bomb if one gets too close to the nest. Female wasps build their nest by burrowing underground in a sunny location in light-textured, well-drained soil. I found a nest right back next to my driveway a couple of years ago, and it was quite an interesting, it was huge. Anyway, the nest opening is about 1.5 inches wide, and the nest is from 6 to 10 inches deep with individual cells that she uses for a nursery. Next, please. The female stings the cicada and flies it to the nest where it becomes food for the developing larva. Note how much bigger the cicada is than the wasp. Pretty amazing, isn't it? The larvae overwinter in their individual cells with a cicada as food, 1 for each cell, and the adults emerge in July. They mate in August. The female digs the burrows, lays the eggs, provides the cicadas, and the adults die in September. If control is necessary, remember, these are good bugs. Dust the entrance holes with a registered insecticidal dust labeled specifically for controlling ground nesting bees and wasps. Apply at the recommended rate and follow labeled directions. However, many will still survive. Next. Now we get to the Asian giant hornet, Vespa mandarinia. In the press, this hornet is referred to as the murder hornet, though no official designation has been given. This hornet has not been found in Virginia or in the US outside of Washington state. The hornet is about 2 inches long, native to China, Japan, and Southeast Asia. This species, when established, can be a major problem for beekeepers as it takes advantage of hives by attacking them in the spring and fall when they are most vulnerable and destroying them. In the fall of 2019, a nest was found on Vancouver Island, BC, British Columbia. It was destroyed in September 2019. 2 other dead hornets were found in Canada and Washington state, and no other sightings have been reported. That's it for hornets. Thank you, and back to Helen. Oh, sorry, here's my references. There's some very good ones from Purdue University, Virginia Tech, University of Maryland, and one from Virginia Tech's entomology department, specifically on the giant Asian hornet. And thank you.
Thank you.